Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I have a bit of an announcement to make before we get started. There is some good news and some bad news. And I'm going to tell you the bad news first because everyone always wants the bad news first. They think that the good news will somehow make up for the bad news and you'll hear it last. But that never happens. The good news never outweighs the bad news, and you just end up more disappointed. So I'll prove this to you. Bad news is you're about to hear 30 of the worst data jokes you will ever hear in your life.
Is it 30? I thought it was 50.
Every time we talk about it, the number keeps going up.
I think the jokes keep getting
better.
better.
I'm going to go with 30. I don't know if we have 50. So you're about to hear 30 of the worst data jokes ever. The good news is the doors are now locked, and you're stuck in here with the two of us.
You're welcome.
I do have some better news. The better news is you will get some useful tips and tricks along the way. Just not right now. So, welcome to Rapid Fire Tips, Tricks, and Bad Data Jokes. My name is Dan. This is...
Hi, I'm Dustin.
We are both product managers at Tableau. I'm a product manager for a product called Tableau Public. Has anyone heard of Tableau Public? If you nod, okay. Nice. For the 3 people who didn't raise their hands, Tableau Public is the core technology of Tableau Desktop, Tableau Server, put on the public web, and people use it, journalists, educations, universities, bloggers, use it to build kind of similar visualizations and dashboards that a lot of you are probably building, but they do it and post them on the public web. And everybody can use it because it's Tableau's core technology for free. So it's great. If any of you wanted something free out of the Tableau conference, you should sign up for a Tableau Public account. You're welcome. Dustin, what do you do?
I make PowerPoints, Dan. PowerPoints. Though you can have those for free, too.
What's worth more?
I don't know. My PowerPoint's pretty good.
Is this one of them?
No.
In that case, what are we doing today?
What are we doing today? So this session, yes, we do like to tell bad data jokes. And by the way, should I tell them about us and our jokes? You guys are in luck because we literally are the 2 funniest guys at Tableau.
It's true.
Like if you could look at our HR performance evaluation, like 5 of 1 through 5 on funny. So you're welcome for that.
3 years running.
3 years running. So this is really about, we do a lot of different presentations, and one of the things that we always run into is there's all of these things that you can do with Tableau, and if you just had known about them, you could have saved 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, stuff like that from recreating. We've bucketed those in a little bit. I'm going to go and do some, Dan's going to do some, I'm going to do some, right, back and forth. There isn't a big vein or structure on this one. We literally were just like, you know what, let's just make a grab session of like easy to do things that are really, really powerful. I'm going to do some formatting stuff, some copy-paste stuff. You're going to do a server thing at the end.
If only there was a slide for that.
If only there was a slide for that.
I thought you made
it's not
this.
PowerPoint, so I don't know how to operate it. But anyway, the idea of this is, if you find these things useful, like write them down, come up with it afterwards and talk to us, right? We're trying to do some Q&A at the end. But the biggest theme for this whole thing is whenever you're using Tableau, whenever you're being an analyst, right, the goal is to do less like human ETL, right? Less copy pasting inside of Excel or things like that, and actually do more, better analytics. So a lot of what we're showing today is designed to make that, I don't know, like 60 minutes that you get in a given day, you actually ask questions of your data and maximize the time doing that and less formatting and like munging of data. And so hopefully you find something today, in addition to our awesome jokes, that you can take back with you and make you a more efficient, data analyst, but also hopefully spread back to your organization. So that's the high level. That's the goal. So with that, I think we're going to get started, Dan. Oh!
But before you get started...
What are we doing?
We have a joke quota.
We do have a joke. Oh, that's right. We have a joke quota. Do I get to go first?
You get to go
first.
Yes!
Okay. Hold on. I got so many jokes. I got a list here.
I'm really scared.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So, Dan, you know how I have friends? Friends? I have a friend who is a really big fan of scatter plots.
Okay.
Really big fan. Yeah, he loves scatter plots. The problem is he'll put concurrency to 100%. Transparency to 100%. I don't really want to see the point. Strap in, we got a lot of those. Yeah, there we go.
The doors are locked.
Yeah, you can't get away now.
You have 45 more minutes of this.
All right, are we ready?
Let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
Okay, we're going to start with some formatting tricks, all right? So I have a good viz here, more or less, before I messed with it. And I'm going to do really bad things to it right now. And as an example, don't do what I do, just look how I do it, right? It's kind of one of those do what I say, not what I do thing. Anyway, so let's say hypothetically, we're looking at this and I want to format it a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to put some aggressively ugly lines on this. Maybe I want to do, I don't know, something like this. And I want to make it orange. And I want to make it, oh, where's it going? Let's do that. On columns. Here we go. We're working now. Oh, what's it doing? Is it showing up? What did I do, Dan?
What are you trying to do?
I'm just doing my formatting thing. Oh, sorry. I need grid lines. Helps if you can use the product.
What did you say you do at Tableau again?
PowerPoints. PowerPoints, Dan. All right. There we go. Now it's ugly. Okay, so. This is going famously. So we do something like this, and we make these really hideous design decisions. Now, imagine it's you, and imagine you're actually making really good design decisions, right? And then maybe you're going to change the font on this too, and you're going to say, you know what, I really like this orange color because it really burns the retinas. Why don't we do that? In fact, why don't we actually, when we talk about font, what if we actually, I don't know, what do we want to do here?
Don't do it.
Right. Anyway, so we've done something aggressively evil here. Imagine this is beautiful, and it's not just for the sake of example. And you need to do this for, I don't know, 3 worksheets or 5 worksheets or something like that, right? Now you can go do 6 or 7 clicks inside of Tableau to do that, right? I could go in and I could make those clicks, or I could do something like this. I could say copy format, and I could make this beautiful workbook also really aggressively ugly, right? I could also do this over here and make this one really aggressively ugly, right? Again, don't do what I did, but right, the idea here is how many of you have actually spent time going worksheet by worksheet by worksheet to edit formatting and do things, right? So the idea with this is like, hey, click, 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 we're done. Now, where's really powerful on this is if you're creating kind of a template, formatting-wise, for your organization. And let's say you get something from your coworker, and they've done a great analysis, but it's nowhere near what the customer needs or what is the kind of company branding, but you've got another one that is, boom, boom, and you're done, right? Or maybe you've got a situation where what you really want is you've got 3 worksheets in one workbook, and you've got another worksheet in a different workbook, and you want to combine them together, right? And you're like, I don't want to have to recreate these things. Well, I just so happen, I call this the plagiarism technique. I just so happen to also have a really awesome professional work-related workbook here. And this thing, what am I at? Full screen?
Yeah, full screen.
Oh, max. And I just, you know what? I really think that this Pokemon workbook that Jewel Laurie, I don't know if you guys know her, she's awesome, hangs out on the Tableau Public team a little bit.
It's true.
And I think I'm going to make this my own in terms of I'm just going to steal it because, why create something new when you can just, grab the whole thing. So instead of actually copying, pasting, formatting, I'm actually just going to copy the entire worksheet here. I'm going to come back. I am going to paste, oops, wrong button. Paste, boom. Now, what's really critical about this is if you look at, not only did I just bring the worksheet in, but the data came with this, right? So imagine that you've got a workbook that took a lot of time. Maybe the data source that came with that had some formulas, had some connections, some joins, and all this other stuff. Moving that between workbooks should not take more than like 28 seconds. And like 20 of those seconds should be like finding the folder where you hid the other workbook, right? So whether we're talking copy, pasting, formatting, or literally copy, pasting worksheets that then brings the data with it, I mean literally, right? Here's the Pokemon data that just came over with it. This is an extremely fast way of getting those things back and forth. Do not spend time recreating, use your keyboard shortcuts, it's a lot of fun. All right, what else do I got? Paste vid, paste calc. Oh, this is a fun one. So, same idea. How many of you have ever tried to spent time writing a really cool calc and then tried to, copy and pasted it inside of one thing into another? Maybe notepads involved, maybe Word, something like that. Easier than that. Let's see here. If I've got a bunch of stuff over here, I've got this formula called real profit legit. And if we do look at this, I may or may not just be timesing profit by 1,000. So whatever. Clearly a valid business purpose here. As long as it's more or less the same data source, right? I can just whip between these two, and I can just say, you know what, we're going to paste. Actually, I got to get the right data source. Let's go sample superstore, and I can just say paste, right? And there is that calculation. And I could even paste it in if it wasn't referencing the same file. I might have to do replace references here. But imagine if you've got some really, really hairy lookup or some really, really hairy, case-sensitive thing going on or something, or whatever, right? You can write a lot of fun calcs in Tableau if you really want to. Every time you open up the calculation dialog, do this copy and paste scenario, right? You run the risk of having that cursor miss just one bracket or just one thing. So whatever Tableau can do to minimize the human error, which I don't have a problem with, Dan, but I just...
As evident.
Right, never. That's a really fast way to just go boom, boom, boom. Now, if you find yourself doing that a lot, the other pro tip I'll give you is you need to look at, if you're using Tableau Server or Tableau Online, the data server capability where you could just centralize a data source altogether, and those calculations could be available for everyone. But this is the, hey, I'm whipping between workbooks, I ain't got time for stuff right now, just quick and dirty, get it done. All right, the last one I'm going to do, and this is probably one of my all-time favorite Tableau tricks of all time, is I love to find data on the web all the time, and sometimes they don't always give me a way to I don't know, get into Excel or something like that. I just don't have time. I just don't have time to wait. I also really like movies. So what I thought I would do here is show you guys a really fun little trick that involves copy and pasting data. Anyone ever done this before? It's super fun. Watch this. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to copy the data on that web page, Control V. Welcome to data pasted directly into Tableau. Right? Now, this is kind of cool, but it's still a little messy, right? I don't have all the things I want. Well, the fun thing is I can now use all of the split and pivot and all sorts of crazy stuff in that pasted data source. So I might be able to say, hey, you know what? Split this. And it automatically harvests out the year. And I'm saying, no, you're not done yet, Tableau. You got to do something even better for me. Custom split. I want you to find a period, just the first one, and split on that. And now I've even got the rank over here. And so I'm going to go edit this and call it, it even gives me the calculation that it ran, rank. And that's good. And I'm going to call this one year. And then I'm going to flip back to this one. I'm going to clear this worksheet. Clear the sheet. There we go. Here's that data source. Literally just says clipboard. I just pasted it right off the web. I'm going to say, by year, right, I want to see what all the, let's see, what do I want to do here? Show me based on rank where each one of these is, over here, and then maybe give me the rank and title over here. I'm just messing around now, right? And then I can do my average, let's see, where's my score? Here we go. IMDb rating. And I can do average of that, right? And we'll do some of this. Quick and dirty, not all that, complex, but the fact that I didn't have to put that into Excel, I didn't have to do anything, right? This is that quick, I just got to see if this is valuable. The number of times I've seen people literally copy and paste things out of Tableau back into Tableau, out of Excel into a C, all sorts of stuff, right? Move fast, right? If this becomes something you want to do a lot, maybe then save it to Excel and make it a more formal data source. But in the short term, hey, move around. Is this valuable? Can I blend it with something else? Cool. Awesome. Send it to somebody else. Make them do it. Whatever. But now you have the knowledge to make it go really, really fast. All right.
Weren't you going to do filter, the paste into filters too?
That's right, Trent. I was going to do paste into
this
filter.
This one actually blew my mind.
This one is actually pretty cool. Okay, so I've got a situation here where I'm going to do a worksheet. I'm going to use Superstore here. And let's say for whatever reason, I've got product names, and I'm going to do list of this, boom, and then I'm going to do sales. And then I got to go harvest a couple product names out of here. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste, but let's say those came out of an Excel file or something like that, right? Whatever. I want to filter these product names, right? I'm going to go filter. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, man, I do not want to go search and hunt and peck for a lot of these, right? Let's say I'm talking about 1,000 product names. There's no way I want to go through here and go, okay, find me everything with binder, blah, 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 blah. No. Let's say I've got an Excel list of 1,000 product names. Copy that Excel list, right? Just Control-C, and then right in this thing, Control-V, boom. Oh, I didn't do it. I failed, Dan. Hold on.
Control-C is hard.
Control-C is hard, Dan. Hold on one second. I'm going to cheat again. Oh, you don't have Excel up here? Hold on. I'm failing, Dan. There we go. We're going to do it for real.
You had to pick the older version, too.
I'm sorry that you don't have the newest things on your computer. There we go. Yeah. All right, so let's say, right, I've got this entire list of things. I want, let's say, this one through this one. Copy, and give me this one. And now when I go in here, filter, or this one, either or, right? Control-V, right. Do not check more than 5 boxes ever in a filter. That's the big one here, right? I've seen people kind of go, okay, I gotta scroll. Scroll wheels are great. Not when you're trying to select 100 or more things. Not when you're trying to select more than 5 or 6 more things. So at any time, if you're going through this operation of like, okay, I've got a list of things over here. I need to filter them out over here. Do I need to do a data blend? Do I need to do these things? No, just copy them out of the list you can get at. Paste them right into the filter, mess around with them. If you want to make that a permanent thing later on, maybe make these a set or a group or something like that. But yeah, those are my copy-paste tricks. Hopefully they save you a ton of time, and hopefully maybe they let you steal some coworkers' work. There you go. All right, on to the next one.
Quota, right?
Is it joke quota
It's
time?
joke quota time.
Oh, we got some jokes.
Okay.
What do you got for us, Dan?
These are so bad I had to write these down.
Your brain refuses to remember them?
It's true. It's a waste of space. I call these the Walked Into a Bar series. It's a series of jokes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So there's more than one.
Are they like stack ranked in like bad, good, like?
They go in descending order of quality.
Okay.
So it gets worse.
Okay.
A sequel statement walks into a bar and sees 2 tables and says, "Can I join you two?"
Ugh. Was that the best one?
That was the best one.
Oh, God. I can't take it.
A pivot table walks into a bar, orders a beer, and says, "Put it on my tab."
Oh. I can't take any more, Dan.
Well, you got at least one more to go.
Okay.
All right. Wait, no, this isn't the one. This isn't my bar one. Where's my bar one? Oh, I threw it away.
Uh-oh.
See?
He's so excited he's throwing his jokes away. It wanted to die.
Oh, yes, this one is indeed really bad. A database admin walks into a NoSQL bar, looks for a table, and when he can't find one, he leaves.
And no one's laughing because there's like one
Get
guy
it?
out there
No,
that like
no.
works with NoSQL, right? That's
Because NoSQL doesn't have tables. No.
You're done.
All right.
They're gonna boo you
All
off
right.
the stage. Oh my God.
This series of tricks is about kind of getting to know the Tableau canvas, is like we would like to call it. And there are a lot of really cool, simple tricks in terms of shaving off a few seconds here, shaving off a few seconds over there. Just really, really interesting little things that you can actually do to save yourself time. So I'm going to take a look at a data set on bird strikes, birds that hit planes. Tableau is great at this very just being able to drag and drop things. Let's add things, move them around, number of bird strikes, look at it by year. More than just building charts, let's actually see, oh, well, some of my data isn't complete. So I'm going to take off what I have here for 2015. But what I'd really like to do is compare, the number of strikes that I have against something else. So I might, drag out the total cost in terms of damage. We now have 2 charts. You can sort of see the similar trends over time at this, but what I'd really like to do is actually dual axis these so I can see the lines on top of each other. You can click one of the other pills that you have and then choose dual axis, which is down here at the bottom. I usually forget where that dual axis option is, and sometimes it just takes too long for me. I like to save as many clicks as possible. So I'll show you an easier way to do that. First, let me get rid of everything on the shelf. And for those of you who are still dragging things back to the shelf to put them back, that's very kind.
You're a very nice person.
You
Play by the rules.
don't have to do that. You could just move it anywhere off the shelf. It's actually really easy. In this way, if you have like 10 things here, you just go boom, 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 drag them off.
It'll find its way home. Don't worry.
It will. They're back. So let's go ahead and take a look at total cost. And when I go to drag something else out, so for example, maybe cost of repair, instead of dragging things and putting them on the shelves, you can actually drag things on the vises themselves. So I'll show you. If I just put this over on the right side of the sheet, you'll see that little dotted line show up. And when I drop it, dual axes it for me. And I'll do it one more time. Just drag it, put it on the side, see a little dotted line, let go, beautiful. And you can actually keep adding things to this. So if I also want to see, what's the other costs, adjusted for inflation, I'll just put it on the axis. Let's keep adding. You can add as many things to this as you want. Interacting with the actual visit itself actually feels really good, and it's a lot quicker. You'll notice that a lot of these, the fields now are actually showing up in this little card called measure values. For those of you who have never tried using measure names and measure values, it's a great way to plot multiple things on the same sheet at the same time. I like this, I guess now quadruple line chart. But sometimes it actually gets a little bit too hard to make sense of all the different things going on at the same time. And maybe I actually do want like a little chart for each one. Well, I could drag this over here, or you can actually multi-select fields in Tableau Desktop. So I'll just click one, hold the Shift key, get all three, and then move all of them over at the same time. Now, there's a lot of little things you can do with this idea of selecting multiple fields. So, for example, we're looking at sum for all of these different measures. But maybe I want to take a look at average. And I'll click on the field, choose measure, choose average. Maybe I want to do average for all of these, but do I really have to go and click on every single field, go to every single measure? No. You can multi-select all of these, click on the field that's on the far right, go to measure, choose whatever it is you want, and it'll change all of them at the same time. This is great because you can also, it's not just like doing the simple things like that. Tableau will always let you choose the thing that actually is applicable to all the different fields. So, for example, quick table calculations. You can also do all at the same time. Other things you can do all at the same time. For example, forecasting. Choosing to show forecast, which you can do by right-clicking on the viz itself or going to the analytics pane and dragging the forecast object out onto the viz. Tableau will do a forecast for each of the objects at the same time. Now, the nice thing about this is if you ever want to add new objects or just like, again, experiment, which is really what Tableau is good for, maybe instead of total cost, I want to look at number of bird strikes, and I would like to see how bird strikes are going to be forecasted. Instead of removing these pills and then adding bird strikes back to it, you can always actually just drop things on top, and then that will replace whatever Tableau is currently doing. So if I drop this on top of average total cost, it changes the measure and it forecasts the number of bird strikes as well. I don't have to go back in. I don't have to click it. The same is true if I add something like reference lines. So if I want to put an average for the table, and then I go back and I pull out total cost, and I put that, I'm going to replace the one at the bottom, which is the total cost of repair. Tableau will reforecast and generate the new reference line. You don't have to do these things over and over and over again. Speaking of which, don't be afraid to change all your measures if you're doing forecasts. You can still do this multi-select thing, choose measure, and keep changing it. So for example, if you want to see the forecast of the average, you can do that for all of them at the same time too. So a lot of different things that you can do just around the canvas in terms of dragging and dropping things in different places. And also, the different kinds of ways you can change the data you're looking at all at the same time instead of having to do little things individually. And I'll show you another one. We'll stay on the same data set. Let's take a look at number of bird strikes. Let's take a look at, let's say, the effect of the damage. So for anyone who's worried about bird strikes, most incidents are not reported or none, so most things are fine. But let's take a look at what else there is there. Let's look at total cost of repair. And let's make this a little bigger. And maybe let's also look at the sky conditions. Once you start getting into especially something like bar charts where you have multiple hierarchies of what it is you're looking at, it can be kind of hard to get Tableau to sort things actually the way you really want them sometimes. And for example, if I know I want to sort, I click the sort button. I'm not actually sure what happened. It looks like this got sorted, but what I really wanted to sort was the effective amount of damage. So I have to click on this, choose sort. It's sorted manually. What I really want to do is sort by a field. Obviously, there's a quicker way to do this. Click on the thing that you want to sort, and then click the thing you want to sort by, and hold the Shift key so that both things are selected, and then hit the sort button. So now I know that the effect in terms of the amount of damage, none is the highest, and then null, and then minor, so on and so forth. But then I can change this really easily. I'll click on effect amount of damage. Let's sort it by total cost. Instead, click sort. Tableau will change that. And you can keep doing this for however many different fields you have on the canvas. You can also right-click and choose to clear sort if you start adding tons of sorts everywhere. Right-click is one of those little secrets that Tableau might be able to do something for you very quickly. For example, if you just threw a bunch of these fields on the shelf, I don't even know what all of these are, and I realize I don't really want to deal with it. Right-click, clear shelf, we're back to the beginning. Now, other things that you can do with a right-click. Let's see. Let's put sky conditions on color. We get a nice color legend. Tableau always generates a color legend whenever you put something on the color shelf. But sometimes you're not working with your own workbook. You get something from somebody else. And for whatever reason, the color legend's not there. So you don't really know what any of the colors mean. Or sometimes, as you're fooling around, you click and you accidentally hide the card. And now the card's gone, and I don't know how to get it back. So I go to the menu, and I think, where might that option be? First thought is maybe window, and I go look at this list of options. I don't see anything for color legend. Maybe it's in the worksheet. Maybe it's cards. View set cards. No, it's none of those. It's actually in analysis if you're curious, but there's a far easier way to get to it. Right-click any blank space. Go to legends, and any legends that you have that are available to you will show up here. So I can get my color legend back. I don't have a caption or a title, but maybe if I did, I could bring that back too.
What does that say?
You're welcome.
Nice. Nicely done.
You can also do, not a lot of people use these, but I really, really like them, summary cards. And summary cards are, if you can see, basically give you a summary of whatever it is you're looking at on your worksheet. And the great thing about these summary cards is that they are very interactive with the data that you're clicking on. So for example, if I want to see a summary of all the flights incidents where nothing happened, I click on none, the summary card actually updates, and if I keep clicking on different things, you'll see that the numbers are actually changing over there in the corner. Now, summary cards are great. There's one little problem with summary cards. I'm going to go build a dashboard, and when I bring out this sheet, I don't get my summary card. And if I go to click on the little drop-down caret that gives me all the different legends and everything, I actually don't have the option for summary cards. And it's kind of sad, because I love summary cards, and you can't add them to dashboards. However, you can make your own. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It's very easy. I'm going to take a data set on Jeopardy data. Does anyone like Jeopardy? Does anyone still watch Jeopardy?
I watch Jeopardy, Dan.
Do you?
I do. Pretty good.
When was the last? All right, well, we'll test you. I'm going to ask you a Jeopardy question later.
Okay.
Okay, so this data set has questions from Jeopardy, every Jeopardy episode. And maybe you just want like a summary card that says all the different episodes, number of questions. So I'll just go ahead and put, let's see, number of questions. Now here's the problem. Number of questions you'll see is a string, because if I bring out question, it's literally a string of all the questions. If I bring this out, that's a lot of text. I can tell you there's more than like 200,000 questions in here. And Tableau is going to spend a lot of time just printing out all the text of all the questions. What I really want is for it to do just like a count. How many unique questions are there? And so I'd like Tableau to skip that step. Who here uses a Mac? Okay, you guys are special. Hold down the Option key before you drag any field out. And all you have to do is, in this case, I'm going to put it on text. And you'll see that this little window pops up that asks, which field do you want to drop? And before Tableau starts doing something, you can actually tell it, I just want the straight up question. I want to do a count. I want to count distinct. In this case, I want the count distinct. Tableau tells Tableau, bypass whatever it is you were going to do. I want you to do this instead. Everyone else who's using a PC, this trick doesn't exist on Tableau. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice try.
You right-click and drag to bring the field out, and you'll get that option instead. On a Mac, hold down the Option key, drag out the field. On a PC, right-click with your mouse and drag and drop. So I have total number of questions, 216,000. What else do I got? Maybe let's take a look at air date. Same thing. I'm going to hold down the Option key, put it on text, tell Tableau I want a count distinct of all the dates. You can keep adding as many of these things to whatever it is you want on your summary card. And then all you have to do is click on text, click on the little three dots, and then let's tell everybody what these pieces of information are. So number of questions, number of episodes. I'm not going to bore you and list all of these things out, so I kind of have a finished version here that says number of years on the air, first air date, so on and so forth. And now when I go and build my Jeopardy dashboard, you can see that my card here is here on the right. And for those of you who have used dashboards before and know how to use dashboard actions, where you can have different sheets interact with different sheets on dashboards, your summary card will still work. So let's take maybe science, because Bill Nye is going to be here. So I'll click on science, and you'll see that my summary card updates. So, science has been on episodes for 27 years, 110 episodes. The max question value is 5,000, so this is probably one of those final Jeopardy things, because I think they go up to 2,000, right? Double
Yeah, they do, yeah.
See, I don't know.
See, right? Gotta watch more Jeopardy, buddy.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Dustin, because you're married to a chemical engineer.
It's true.
Sugars, alcohols, and starches are all formed by different combos of these three elements.
Wait, is your expectation because I married a chemical engineer I know about science?
Why not?
Well,
I'm
married a chemical engineer, so I don't have to know about science, Dan. That's how, I have carbon. Is that an answer?
Do you know if that's an element?
Partial credit?
The answer is hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen.
So like third credit. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Sure.
Summer where wife was crying. Yeah.
Anyway, I gotta go. So that's how you can use a summary card. For those of you who haven't used dashboard actions, just because these will come up in a little bit, all you do is go to dashboard, you go to actions, and which one is the one I am using? I think it's this one. You'll see that you get to choose a source for what is the sheet that's going to trigger the action, and what are the sheets that you want to filter. It's pretty easy to use once you just try it, give it a go. But really, really powerful way to especially give somebody who's new to using interactive dashboards a way to understand what is the summary of what's going on here, a summary of the data. So,
excellent. Back to me. Dan, do you know what time it is?
Joke quota time.
Joke quota time. All right. This one we got, top 5 list time. Top 5.
The list.
Now, this is actually pretty funny because this was like a legitimate joke until Dev's on stage yesterday. This is the top 5 things that are just, when you're a data analyst, like you pull your hair out because you hear it all the time and you're like, are you kidding me? This is really funny though. Number 5 is, hey, can I connect to my PDF as a data source? Now, how many people saw Dev's on stage yesterday, right? We didn't know they were going to do that. So they're like, that's like a joke, but it's actually real now. So
joke's on you.
Joke's on me. Number 4, it's a really great chart. Could you add some sex appeal? right? I get that one a lot, and I'm like, what are you doing here? This is visual analysis.
Says
Get
the
out.
guy who just demoed a bunch of orange-colored lines that burn your retinas.
That's the problem. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Here we go. Usually followed by that is, wow, that's a really great visualization, right? Maybe you've taken a lot of time to create a very interactive dashboard. You're showing it to the executives for the first time. People are applauding. They really, really love it. And then someone raises their hand and is like, that's really great. Could you just send me like the CSV? Could you just give me the, and you just, like the single tier, you're just like, it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. Let's see, what else we got here? This one's really, really great. You're looking at a very, a nice thing that you've made, and then someone raises their hand and like, that's fantastic. Fourth bar from the left, can you make that one chartreuse, please? Right? And you're just, visual best practices, what are you doing? All right, my favorite, most hair-pulling thing I've experienced, I think Dan has experienced, we probably all experienced is, and it comes from a good place. I mean, someone's trying when they ask this, but it is, that's really, really cool. Could you correlate this with how the office feels about my emails when I send them out, the emotional behavior of that? Thanks. Like, effectively, can you measure a hypothetical and theoretical thing that there's never existed a data source for? Is that a thing you could just do for me? Thanks, right? Yeah, we've got a couple of those. So, anyway, those are pretty good, weren't they?
A.
Oh, okay. All right. So with that, I've got some more tricks, bud.
You do.
I do. More tricks time. Okay. We're going to switch gears. And this one requires a little audience participation in the sense of, oh, man, you got a lot of sheets in here, buddy. This isn't like PowerPoint at all. Here we go. Okay. Really quick. Raise your hand if you've been using Tableau for longer than 2 years. All right, raise your hand if you've been using Tableau for less than 6 months. Less than 6 weeks? Less than 2 weeks? Less than a week? Cool. Awesome. So this is why we do this, right? Because you get people from all different spectrums having used Tableau. And that's really cool. And hopefully you're learning some things, share things, right? And the idea is even if you knew some of these things or have reminded them, you can take them back to the office. These ones are a little bit more advanced. So, it's not quite the copy-paste capability, but they save a ton of time. So here is one of my favorites, and this is called a battery alias, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at, let's go ahead and take a look at Superstore. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, I have got a situation where I want to look at, order ID. Oh, this is a different data set. That's okay. My alias one didn't come in. 1 second. Bum, bum, bum. All good. All right, so let's say hypothetically I have got a list of order IDs here. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, okay, these are pretty good, right? But I have another list of order IDs, especially as they correspond to other stuff, that is actually, they're named different things. They're named better things. And I need to change those, right? But it's in a different data set. And I'm like, okay, how do I go? Do I have to go in here and re-alias a bunch of things manually? Like I'm going to sit here and be like, okay, this one actually, a different name. The answer to this is no. No, you do not. What you can do is something called, anyone here done a primary group before? Oh, my friends, welcome to a whole new world of existence. All right, hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say I've got something, go back to my friend Excel here. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, if I've got order IDs, and then I've got, we'll say, we're going to call these better order IDs, right? And in actuality, right, this order ID isn't this really complicated and not fun thing. This order ID is actually cowbell. And maybe this one is actually, let's call this one tacos. And let's call this one, I don't know, on and on and on and on, right? I don't actually have to create these, but I've got these as a lookup in some Excel file or whatever, right? Could be SQL, could be any other data source. Let's call this one Dan is awesome. There we go, right? Pretty cool stuff. It's great, right? It's a technical term. So I'm going to just copy this as a data source. I could connect to it. I could do a lot of different things. But regardless, right? Oh, right. There we go. Batch results. Clear this one. So I just am going to paste that in as a data source. The data came in visually, but I don't actually care about that. Now, this data source that I've just pasted in has order ID and better order ID, right? So if I go back to Superstore, right, what we'll see here is if I drag out order ID, I go back to the clipboard one that I just pasted in. We've got the blend there because both order ID are on here. And if I drag out better order ID, right? Oh, cowbell, tacos, and Dan is awesome, right? Those are right there. Now, how do I effectively put these order IDs into that other data source? Because the goal is I don't ever want to have to use that other data source as a lookup, right? Maybe it's a one-time operation, or maybe I've known it to do it a bunch. Like, how do I do the thing where I make it do to the other thing? Here's the magic. Watch for the magic, right? If you click on the blended one, right? So the secondary data source, and you know that based on the orange check mark, you hit the drop down and you create a primary group, right? Effectively, what happens, right, is it creates a group for each one of those, and it just does the batch realias. So now, when I go back to Superstore, right, in this data set, we scroll down, where did it go?
It was at the top.
Is it at the top?
Order ID group.
Right, and I'm just going to call this edit group. I'm going to call this aliased. I get rid of better or whatever altogether. I'm going to close this out. This data set does no longer exist in this workbook, yet I've got that battery alias. Thinking about it. Did I break it, Dan?
I think you did.
Did I break it?
It's because you used PowerPoint.
Oh, that's right, with the clicks and stuff like that. When it loads, right, effectively what you'll see is it's created an aliased group for every one of those. This is a fantastic way if you're trying to play that game of like, I've got customer names or order IDs or 10,000 cities or whatever's going on, and suddenly you're just like, I don't have to retype anything. I don't have to do some crazy VLOOKUP, right? There we go. I don't have to use that second data source. I don't have to do any of that, right? I can just create that primary group. I can have that as a metadata object inside of my Tableau workbook. I could use data server if I wanted to share that out with people. I can edit this. I can make it really, really easy. And things like this often change. And the best part about it is when it changes, let's say you have to do this once a week for a couple weeks until they figure stuff out on the database side, right? That's a 30-second operation to update that. This is for real. This is one of those things that when we released this at Tableau, people would write us and like, you have solved 2 hours a week minimum of my time having to create this stuff. So if you find yourself doing a lot of copying and pasting inside of Excel just to make that data, whether it's email addresses, whether it's whatever, some sort of VLOOKUP combination thing, batch aliasing, and the functionality is called creating a primary group, and it's just that simple blend opportunity, and then boop, primary group. Use it, love it, it's amazing. All right. That was the first one. That's pretty good, Dan.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I
like that one.
I'll give you that one.
Okay, I like that one. All right. This one's a lot crazier. So this is a little bit of like, how does Tableau work, right? How does Tableau, when Tableau is reaching out to a data source, you are connected live, let's say, to a database or an Excel file or whatever. And I've got a list of months here, and I've got a list of values. And this is hard to demo because Tableau works fast anyway. But trust me, if it doesn't look like it's doing its thing, it's doing its thing. When I use a date slider, and I want to slide some dates, right, and I want to filter these out, what Tableau is actually doing is going, okay, thanks for that. I'm going to submit a brand new query all the way against that data source, right? I'm going to ask for the results, and I'm going to bring that back, right? That's a brand new query that has to go back and forth, and it actually recalculates the entire results for what's in your sheet or dashboard. So if you've got 5 or 6 sheets on a dashboard and using that date slider, that's going to recalculate a little bit. That's a little bit expensive. Now, this is Superstore, and it's small, and it's not a problem because Tableau is really fast. Who here is working with sizable data amounts, north of like 100 million or something like that? Yeah, okay. So those queries are a little expensive. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that large a data source. It just has to be over a bad network connection. It has to be an expensive query, whatever. There's a bunch of reasons where performance can become an issue simply because, right, you have to do a lot of tossing across the network. And Tableau wants to give you the freshest data, right? It always wants to be like, hey, I got this for you. Boom, and go get it. But sometimes you're like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to run a fresh query, right? And we do a lot of caching of this anyway, but why can't I just, use the data that's already here just to say I want more or less? So there is a trick, and this is called the table calc filter. And effectively, what you do, and I'll explain it and then I'll show it, is you say, Tableau, I don't want you to go back to the database. I don't want you to go back to that primary data source and rerun, do a table scan, and all these other things, because you have all the information you need in this table of data right here, in the window, right, in the table. And so what you use is, instead of a normal filter, it's called a table calculation. You build a very small little thing right here that just says lookup min of my date field, comma 0, right? Don't worry, this deck's going to be up and recorded, so you don't need to worry about this calculation right now. There's also a great KB article that'll be linked to on exactly how to build this. But here's the trick. Here's what it's doing. That is what is being filtered on, not the actual date field. And so when you filter this, and the performance differential here is less than a couple milliseconds because, again, Tableau is really fast in smaller data sources. But if this was, for whatever reason, a data source that was causing you a performance hit, and even if it was 3 seconds, 3 seconds is annoying. I don't have time to waste 3 seconds, right? You would see sub-second response on this regardless, because all Tableau is doing is saying, well, I've got all the data here, right, in this view. All I need to do is effectively, instead of recalculating an entire table, the table calc just hides what you don't need, right? It's saying, I've got all the data I need here. I can shrink this. I can show it really, really quickly. Where this gets really, really interesting, and Dan backed me up on this because sometimes I get the facts wrong, sometimes, not always. But like if you're doing like a rank, right? Or if you're doing something where, you know what, I have got a rank situation for, let's say that IMDb scenario, where I'm actually calculating the rank based on the total N of all 250 movies. And I wanted to filter that to just 100. But I didn't want to lose the actual ranks, and I'm not filtering based on rank. I'm saying filtering on year. Well, if I do a fully new table scan, and I go out and grab those, but then I rerun that rank calculation, it's going to say, well, of those 100, here's your ranks. It's like, no, 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 no. I wanted to see between these 2 years what those existing ranks were. If you use a table calculation, it doesn't go back to the database. It doesn't recalculate that stuff. It takes the existing information in the window, in the table, and says, here you go. And it'll be wicked, wicked fast. It doesn't solve all problems. It's actually a very specific use case. But when you need it, the performance boost can be massive. It can be really, really, really big deal. So this one's a little crazier. But this is one of those things where we've seen people bring this into the organization. And once you start to think about performance in this way, this is one of those tips that is actually really dangerous, in terms of it makes you think more like a Tableau user and less like an Excel user or a SQL writer. It forces you to think about, hey, I can leverage the tool to do better things than expecting to reindex certain tables on a database or something like that. So it's pretty cool. That one's a lot of fun.
Also really good if you're just doing a bunch of other kinds of table calculations, percent of total, rank, like you said,
right.
And then you just want to take some items out. You don't want Tableau to recalculate everything. Great way to do it.
Bingo. In my mind, if you're using table calcs, you really shouldn't have to see a spinner. I'm not always right there, but sometimes. Yeah. All right. Is it joke time?
It's joke time.
Is it joke time?
It's joke time.
How are you guys doing, man? It's rough out there. I know. What do you got, Dan?
So a missionary walks up to a string, and the string goes, whoa, you can't convert me.
Oh, my God. Boo. Boo, Dan. Boo.
You don't get the boo. How many of you have ever built a dashboard that's really cool and is very awesome, kind of like my Jeopardy one right here, and you send it to somebody, and the first thing they do is email you back and say, what am I supposed to do? Or how do I use this? Or anything, any variation on that question. And you would be wasting a lot of time having to wait for this email, type something up back, maybe take a couple screenshots, please click this thing. Or you can actually build these little informational tooltips. I'm using a very cheeky light bulb icon. You can use whatever you want, but like a little info, like those little eyes, when you hover over it, it'll give you information. You can type in information on telling people how to use this thing. Probably more useful than what I'm typing in here. But tell people exactly what to do. Click on this thing. Use these filters. Actually try, explore. Go out, get your feet a little bit wet. How do you build this? This is really, really easy. It's actually just another worksheet with a funny shape on it. And where is it? It is over here. This is kind of what mine looks like. How you build it is you just create a calculated field. I called mine tooltip info. It's really just a dummy calculation. It's just a way to kind of fool Tableau into doing a specific thing. I just put the number 1 in here. You can type whatever you want. You can say Dustin tells great jokes.
True story.
You can talk about whatever. And then what you do is, here is it on a blank sheet. Change your mark to shape, because otherwise the little shape icon isn't going to show up. So change it to shape, and you'll see that we get shape down here in the marks card. Drag the field that you just created onto shape. Tableau will create a little shape right here. It's a little small, make it a little bigger, which will become bigger on the actual dashboard. And what you see is Tableau has basically run a query and then just generated a shape to display that. And you can see that there's a shape legend over here on the sides that tells you what the thing is. You can click on the legend to change the shape. You can choose from any of the things that Tableau has, or you could choose a Pokemon that, like in that other viz, you can bring in your own custom shapes, whatever you want. And then what you do is edit the tooltip. Just put your instructions here, make it pretty big. For me, I made my instructions not super useful, but you would probably not do that. That's how you put these little tooltip information. And then when you go back and put it on the dashboard, you'll get this. There's lots of other cool things you can do with dashboards in terms of using sheets in very kind of fun ways. Maybe this dashboard is, there's too much good stuff, and we need another dashboard. So that this dashboard can be just about questions, and the other dashboard, this one is actually useful. The other one maybe won't be. So it says see even more Jeopardy. I might, click on this button that goes to the right, and hello XKCD Comics.
Is this what you use Tableau for?
Better or worse than PowerPoint?
All right, that's fair.
Anyway, this is my favorite one of theirs because it's kind of like an Inception thing, because the pie chart goes here and then there, and you get the idea. You can use the arrow to go back. This is really great if you have like a dashboard or multiple dashboards like in the same workbook that have those tabs, right? Not everyone's going to go and click every single one of those tabs, but if you can actually create sort of a guided navigational experience, people will do what you tell them to do. So how do you make something like this? It's really easy. Exact same thing that we did for the worksheet as a tool, the little tooltip thing. Create a dummy calculated field. I called it button left. Again, I just typed 1 in it. Same thing. Change it to shape. Drag your field onto it. Change the shape to whatever it is you want. I just happen to already be on this little left arrow. And then the trick is when you go to your dashboard is to use dashboard actions, which is that thing that we talked about before. Go to dashboard, go to actions, and what you're going to want to do is add an action if you don't have one already. You will choose filter. In this case, I'll just click edit so you can see what it is I'm doing. And again, you always have to choose a source and a target whenever you create dashboard actions. What's the thing that's going to trigger the action? What's going to be the recipient of the action? In this case, we're not actually asking Tableau to really do anything, just jump from one place to the next. And you can do that by selecting the dashboard that you want to be the source. Choose the sheet that represents the button, which this is why it's really important to name your sheets appropriately so that when you come to places like this, you're not like, which one is sheet 2, which is sheet 3. And then on target sheets, choose the other dashboard that you actually want the user to go to. In this case, it's my Jeopardy dashboard. No need to check or uncheck any of these things. All is fine. Click OK. And once you do, you can easily bounce back and forth between the two dashboards. So you can use these little sheets as buttons. And you can actually do this to say, if you want to get really complicated, you can use actual sheets with actual data and say, maybe when I click on science, I want to jump to another dashboard and filter that dashboard to just the science-related data. So that's something you can do too. Again, exact same concept using dashboards and dashboard actions. We are running low on time, but one more trick before we go. Any of you use Tableau Server or Tableau Online at all? Okay, a good handful of folks. This trick is about I love this one. How do I describe it?
Sneaky workaround.
It is a sneaky workaround. I'll give an analogy because I think this is the best way to do it. Imagine I really want to build a building, a really tall building, and Dustin is my builder.
I am the builder.
Now, what would be great is if I could just draft up a blueprint of what the building looks like and then give it to him, and then he builds it. That's kind of what this trick is going to let us do in terms of Tableau and Tableau Server.
Would you say it's a delegation trick?
You do the work, I get the credit.
Okay.
What actually happens a lot of the time is imagine I had to build the building so that he knows what the building looks like, and then he can go build it. And so that's what actually happens today. When you are connected to a data source and then you want to publish that workbook to Tableau Server or Tableau Online, and you want to take an extract of the data, you actually have to extract the data on Tableau Desktop and then publish the whole thing to Tableau Server. So I have to build the building and then give it to Dustin at the same time.
I'm very needy.
It'd be great if I could just build the viz, and then when I want to go extract the data, have Dustin go do it on his own, because he knows how to do it.
I do.
So that's what this trick actually does. So I'm taking my same Jeopardy data, and basically what I want to do is I've built my viz. I know what the viz looks like. I just want to publish it and have Dustin extract the data for me.
In this analogy, am I Tableau Server?
You are Tableau Server.
Yes.
Or online, if you like the cloud.
Okay, I'm a cloudy guy.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
What I've created in here is a table, not a table calculation, a calculated field called today, which literally just returns the date that is today. And what I'll do is if I put this, if I go to extract the data right now, you can add filters so that you only extract a subset of the data when you do this, right? If I choose add and I choose today, and I'll choose an individual date, I'm only going to get one possible choice, which is today. If I choose it and click exclude and click OK and then click extract, Tableau is basically going to exclude everything and it's going to return me no data because every single row in the data is today. But Tableau still knows exactly how I'm supposed to build the viz. So the next time when I go to Tableau Server and click Publish Workbook, I'll tell it, it's not actually going to work right now, just I don't have a server that I can use at the moment. But when I tell it to refresh the data the next day, it'll no longer be November 9th, 2016. It'll be November 10th. So all the data will no longer match the exclusion of November 9th, which means it'll actually pull in all of the data. So I'm making Dustin or Tableau Server or Online do all the actual hard work. And I'll just demonstrate this really quickly using the now function instead. Let's bring everything back. Now is very similar to today. Basically, the only difference is it adds time. So I'll put now on the filter shelf. Actually, not even on the filter shelf. Let's go ahead and extract that data. Extract, add. Now, let's use minutes, because if I do individual time, it'll go to seconds, and I can't move that fast. So it is 43. I'll exclude on 43. Click OK, and hit extract, which of course, again, similar thing, is going to return nothing. While we wait for it to be 244, oh, okay, it just changed, 244, perfect. Go to data, extract, let's refresh it. Yes, I want it to replace contents. Extract away, and it's back. So imagine if Tableau Server was the one doing the refreshing the second time. So if you have a huge amount of data and you need to extract it just to be able to publish the thing, run a today calculated field, extract nothing, publish it, and then put it on a schedule. When it refreshes, it will no longer be what was today. Tableau Server will pull all the data that you need. So what did we go over for today? Because we are now just out of time. Dustin.
What's up?
all the things that we did. What did you show us?
I showed you some copy-paste formatting. I showed you some tricks with batch realising. The big highlights on all this stuff, though, like we said, right? Whether it's extracting faster, right, getting stuff up and letting server do that, whether it's the copy-paste, little things, big things. The goal is really spend less time banging your head against manual processes, right? Do what Tableau allows you to do best, which is be a better analyst. Ask more data questions, right? Go hunt things down. Don't spend a bunch of time repivoting data in Excel, trying to worry about how much RAM you have on your laptop, right? Let the tricks take care of that for you and just be a better analyst. Do we have 2 more data jokes before we
have
close?
2 more data jokes before we close.
Okay.
But before we give them to you,
Right.
we do have to say thank you, and we do have to say, please fill out the survey.
Great data jokes. Great data jokes. All right. Last data jokes. Here we go. Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Do you know why Usain Bolt loves Tableau?
No, I don't.
Because he loves to build dashboards. These are the worst ones, too.
I was going to make a joke about people who like to average things all the time.
Yeah.
But I felt that would be kind of mean.
Thank you, everyone.
And with that, we'll leave you with this last thing to think about. Thanks for coming.
Have a great day.